right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in the studio. Get the applause going. We got applause.
Full studio audience.
Awesome. He always cuts it off. Joined by Randy Angston. What's up, buddy?
You've never seen people stop clapping like that simultaneously?
Yeah.
How we doing, brother?
It's always like real low when you hit that clap. Do you have like a volume control on the sound effects? Yeah, there is one. Hit it now.
Yeah. Oh. Then the crowd
it stops.
The crowd goes wild.
You know what? I'm gonna bring that board over here. I'll start. Wah, 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 wah. All right,
Tim on the ones and twos.
Let's get into it. We got a great episode today. Probably one of the boringest topics that any gym owner has and tries to like avoid when it comes to running their business. It's standard operating procedures. Now I'm going to tell a quick story. My when I opened my gym in 2000 and we were talking about in 2008 and opened in 2009, my dad, who's a business guy, handed me E-Myth and he said that you've got to create your systems and processes and put it in a binder. Back then it wasn't really like digitized. It wasn't like Google Docs or anything like that. It was like put it in a binder, update it annually or
living doc. Yeah.
Have this thing so like if you ever want to duplicate this in the future, you've got all your procedures down. I'm like, yeah, I got it. And I knew I needed to do it, but I avoided it.
Yeah.
Avoided it. And everybody avoids it. And so over the years, we've created things, but they're scattered all over the place. And we're bringing it all back together. We're creating the SOPs again. And we are just, and this is a mind-numbing task. And if you're a high D in the DISC assessment, this will drive you up the wall because this is not the way you think. You're a visionary.
Yep.
Not step 1, step 1A, step 1B, step 2. Like this is not the way I think or probably the way you think or want to think, because you really have to slow your life down into this one focal point on how do I input somebody into my body?
Well, to that point, you and I will go and do it. We don't stop to document the process as we're doing it, right? Oh, that's how you got in that position. You knew the functions had to happen. You were doing the work, but you're in that lane and you're doing those things. You don't stop, document the process, put it into a piece of paper or document that then can, you can work off of that for the future, or somebody else can work off of that.
Yep. And here's the scoop, guys. If you do not document your processes, if you do not have a binder or a digital document of all of your processes from how you answer the phone to how you clean and how everything in between, you don't have a business you can sell. Mm-hmm. You've got a mix match of things, things people, will do it differently every time. And, my focus over the next probably 5 years is going to put together a sellable business that will get multiples on the dollar and move on into something else. I'm guessing. I don't know. Yeah. That's 5 years from now. But even if you're not planning on selling your business, you still need it anyway. Mm-hmm. Even if you have a single location or 10 locations, I would argue you'd probably need it even more if you have 10 locations, right? And so
you probably didn't get there if you didn't.
What is an SOP and what is the anatomy of an SOP? And I've been digging in the weeds and I found a ton of information on this, but basically I've seen everything from 7 steps down to 3 steps. And hey, if it's up my choice, I'm going to pick 3 steps. Let's make it really easy. So number 1, the step 1 of a SOP is the purpose of the SOP. So you have like a 2-sentence, maybe even a paragraph of what is this for? Mm-hmm. What is the purpose of this process in a facility? Let's go abstract. Let's just say, hey, what is the process to host or run an event at your gym? Let's call it a nutrition seminar.
Sure.
Okay.
Perfect.
You need an SOP on this because if you ever want to do it twice or 3 times or 10 times, you better have a process to do it.
Well, and let me drive to that point. A process is a measurable, process, right? It's a system that once it's implemented, predicts or creates a similar outcome at the end. And that's what an SOP's goal is, right? That's what processes in a business are. We're trying to remove the human element, remove the variables, and create a repeatable experience, a repeatable outcome. Mm-hmm. And a SOP is a system like we talk in everything else. Once you have that in there, you can edit, tweak, change, manipulate, do what you need to the process to improve or digress the results that you're able to achieve.
Yep.
And that's the benefit. Once you have it, it exists. Now you can relate to that for the next time. Say, okay, cool. This is our process. This is how we do it. And the feedback from last time, okay, maybe this didn't go well, so let's change a little bit here or something, right? But you have a system to work off of. And without that, you don't have a system, you don't have the process, and therefore it's winging it each and every time.
Yeah, nailed it, right? So exactly is the point is that you can repeat the process with anybody, right?
Yep.
So if you're, coaches come and go, staff come and go, and you would hate for that process to leave with that employee. And so you've got to own it. Look, you're the business owner. You better own all of this stuff. You have to own it, meaning you have to control it. You have to have it in your docs, in your binders, in your stuff. Okay, so the first part is, the purpose. The second part is the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And usually you would start with the global steps and then, go and break down how to do each step. So like, from what I'm reading and understanding a little bit better is you always start with the end in mind.
End in mind,
What's
sure.
the end goal of this thing? And put that down at the bottom. And then all the start, how do you start? And then everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the end, you have something called FAQ, which is frequently asked questions, like what happens if this? Do this. What happens if this? Do that. Whatever. Okay, so if we're talking about, for example, hosting an event, the purpose would be, the procedure to host an event to maximize, attendance or whatever, and then you could put a couple examples, barbell seminar, a nutrition seminar, whatever those things are for your gym. Step 1, start, determine the date of the event. Step 1. Step 2.
Sounds goofy, guys,
Yeah.
but this is how specific and clear an SOP should be.
Yeah. Step 2, and I don't have it in front of me, and this is going off memory,
Sure.
but like we have an 11-step process,
Yep.
because, and here's the funny thing about the 11-step process, right? Like, for example, what you were saying is duplicatable, blah, blah, blah. We created it to solve the problem. The problem was we weren't getting a whole lot of people coming to a seminar. So we created a SOP to fix the problem. And when we followed the SOP, we'd have a ton of people. And then a year later or 2 years later, we go by and we would host an event where somebody didn't follow the SOP and there wouldn't be anybody at the event or lacked people. And then you go back and like, well, you didn't follow the thing. It's like you only solve the problem once.
Yes.
And this is the crazy thing is like, yeah, we've already solved this problem. But the issue is when you get staff turnover and this guy forgot about that other thing, or this person never got taught that there was an SOP for this. So when you create these SOPs, you better be training on them all the time. Like you should first reference is going back to call it the binder. Go back to the binder and see if there's something that exists for that.
Yep.
And you could have marketing SOPs, sales SOPs. In fact, I would just make them the 4 systems of the gym, right? Attraction, conversion, delivery, ascension. Boom. Those are your 4 majors. And then you can just drop in, the subcategories. And then, okay, so you get through the steps. Great. Now I've got the frequently asked questions section done. Bundle it up, put it in the binder, and it lives there. And then you could train on this stuff. And so, right, like as you go through your day-to-day operations, you're going to realize, oh man, I answer the phone all the time. Well, how should we answer the phone?
What is the goal?
What is the goal?
What is the goal of the outcome we're looking for when we answer the phone, right? Like you said, start with the outcome. And
I would tell
the
everybody the goal of any like we have a goal and a backup goal. And a third goal, like right, those 3 things. The goal of any inbound call is to book an appointment.
Sure.
And when you book the appointment, you get the contact information, you get all their information, and it's booked on the calendar. That would be what we would assume, like if it's a prospecting call, right?
Sure.
But if you can't get the appointment booked, the secondary is get their contact information so you can follow up or have the director follow up. And if you don't hit either one of those, that's a fail.
Sure.
You missed the mark.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's, but what is the script? What do you say? Like, do you do, and then frequently asked questions on the bottom. Do you discuss price over the phone?
Say, what happens when they ask about pricing? How do we handle that?
Yep.
Right. Yep.
That's
the number one, everyone.
Well, that's by default. And so the question becomes, do you like you maybe in your facility you do. Cool. I don't mind giving the price out over the phone if it's the right conversation.
Absolutely.
And usually it's a range.
Yep.
But I would argue that as soon as you give out the information, if they've never been in your facility, you've lost them, because there's no way to put that $400 a month value with the experience that they're getting in the gym when they're used to Planet Fitness for $9.99.
Yeah, and that's the easiest way is they're thinking cost, you're thinking value. You can't show value without, more. There has to be something
Seeing
tangible.
it.
They see the facility. They understand the quality of your training because they're visually seeing it. They're getting that emotional and logical confirmation and other things that a number doesn't give. I mean, they literally, that's how you turn your business into a commodity. That's how you compete against other quote unquote fitness solutions
On price.
on just a number. And that's got absolutely nothing. I mean, it's like buying a car. You can walk into a Lamborghini dealer or a Honda dealer, and if you don't know the difference and you ask the question of what is the cost and you leave it at that, that's all that's all you have to go off of.
Yeah.
And yeah, it can be dangerous for a fitness facility to just toss numbers around.
Yeah, especially because there's such a vast range of price points in this industry.
Yeah.
You got everything from, I'm like, look, dude, I've seen $7 a month. Fitness 19, which is funny. Fitness 19 in California is a $19, started there. Now they're down to $7. What does that tell you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anywho, look, SOPs are boring as hell. They're sexy when they work. They're sexy when, and one of the sexiest things about them is you'll be doing these in your operations. Let's say you're the owner and you've got all these things I do and I've got these SOPs. Guess what? Well, I don't need to do this one anymore. Let me hand the freaking training SOP off to the coach.
Yep.
And now guess what? That gap is, you can have time there.
Yep.
And so if you as a gym owner ever want to get out of your operation, you have to replace yourself. In order to replace yourself, they need to know what to do. In order for them to know what to do, you have to document the process. SOPs are an absolute 10 out of 10 must. They're also a 1 out of 10 of likelihood you've got them.
Or want to do them.
I mean, it sucks. I mean, Nick, you've been talking about doing an SOP on how to launch these podcasts, right? Because he's doing the same thing over and over, and he started documenting that process, and we're going to put them in a format, and it's a whole thing. Like, that's important.
And I know he's got enough of them because there was a time where you and I had to come in, fire up the stuff, and I mean, the software wasn't on my computer yet.
Yep.
Well, I had to pull up his documentation for what he had already created, and we did. We were able to continue and do a similar result. I guarantee our listeners, you had no idea that Nick didn't hit the buttons that day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that right there speaks volumes. I mean, that is a real life example of without an SOP, Tim and I would have missed content. We wouldn't have been able to do the show. You wouldn't have gotten the information. And boom, we failed our delivery to you, the consumer.
Truth.
Right now, we didn't have to because the SOP was in place. As simple as a guide that literally download this software, install the driver, plug this into this port. Like stupid, simple. I think the biggest thing, I think the most resistance gym owners and any small business owner is going to have around SOPs is the fact that you right now you think that you have to sit down with a blank piece of paper and build a library of SOPs.
Right now.
And you, in theory, you do need to, but how you do that is not by sitting there and pounding your head against the wall and hoping that these ideas come from, your mind to a piece of paper. 90% of the things, like Tim said, you're doing these functions of the business today. Your team may be handling the functions of the business today. Make it a team effort, maybe, right? The tasks that are already on your trainer's workload, right? If they're already doing certain things, as they do it next time, have them document at least the steps, right? Help them create an SOP if you can. The next time you're going and you take that phone call, document what are the things you say that you want every one of your employees saying on that phone call. Document it. You're doing the work. All you got to do is have a set of notes next to you and just at least get the processes started on paper. That's going to be like the 85% of the work. Building deeper, at that point, you have most of it already there.
Yeah.
It becomes a lot. Yeah.
Big milestones.
I mean, then the rest of it, you can fill the gaps. And then that's where you can tweak, maybe I didn't say it the way I wanted to on the phone, but I know what I would, prefer to say or like to say. Okay, perfect. Put that in the script, right? And then build upon that. An SOP is a living document. Your business changes, sometimes with the change of staff. Maybe you do lose a fitness director and all of a sudden, boom, You've got, a lead trainer or trainers filling some of that. You're back in the business doing some of it. Figure out, it's always the functions of the job. What does it take to deliver that product to your consumer? Document that stuff, put it into a binder. And like we said, you're going to have a business literally in a binder that has value, that is an asset, that is a sellable asset. That's what business owners are coming along looking for, or potential buyers are coming along looking for. Then nobody wants to buy what's between your two ears. You can't. If it doesn't exist in a document, in something that they can utilize, learn from, implement themselves, that is not sellable in your business. And so it's tough, but we're giving you the path to, and you said maybe you don't want to sell your business. That's no problem. But at least this way your business has cash flow that's paying you dividends, owner benefit, and all of those things without you having to be in the day-to-day operations. It's the difference between have to and can. Big difference.
For sure. So there you have it, guys. If you're going to do it right. This is not a hobby. This is your career. It's your lifestyle. It's your life. I don't know. This might be your lifeblood of your whole family, right? So take the time, document the process. It's boring as hell. I know it. I've avoided it for years. But it's time. It's time to act like a grown-up and an adult and do it the right way. So hopefully this helps. If you need help with coaching, with your business, we do a coaching program called Business Accelerator, winninggym.com/grow. If you have interest there, book a call with Randy. That's it for this episode. Hopefully that helps you guys. Until next time, keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next show. Bye.
All right, and thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast, where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals, and when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.